All right, so in this video, we are going to add color to our wavy lines, sorry, I apologize. We're gonna add color to our op art, our optical illusion art. I'm going to use 4 different colors, okay? I wanna use a light color and a dark color. 2 different times, so I want a light and a dark here and a light and a dark here. And it doesn't have to be super dark. I'm not talking about black. We are going to use a black, but this is only going to outline our lines at the end if we feel it's necessary. If we like the illusion without the outline, then we're gonna go that route. If we don't like it, if we think it's gonna be stronger, if we add the black line, then we'll add the black line. But for now, we're gonna go with just the straight colors. And what I want you to focus on, and I'm gonna do one with you and then I'll probably speed the video up, but every other line, so these 2 colors are going to be this tube, this tube, this tube, this tube, this tube, and this tube, okay? And then I'm gonna alternate dark, light, so on and so forth, okay? So starting with the dark color, what I want you to focus on is if you want to make something round, you need to go from dark to light to dark, okay? It helps that we have a round line here that helps with the illusion, but it's going to enhance the illusion if we can create a dark value coming to a light value and then going back dark again. Some of you will have a difficult time learning how to control the pencil in a way that's going to go from dark to light and make it look smooth, because we're not going to use blending stubs like we would with a graphite drawing. We need to just use what we've got, and we need to go from dark to light the best we can, following the contour. Don't go up and down with your coloring, because that's really gonna hinder the process of trying to blend. And don't go straight across, because we're making something round. We need to keep the lines going round, okay? Stay with the contour of the lines, of the shape of whatever it is that you're shading, okay? So I'm not starting off really dark. I'm not pushing really hard. I'm simply just adding layers. And what I'm doing is I'm easing up on my pencil as I go. So as I get closer to the middle, I'm starting to ease up on the pressure in which I hit the paper with, okay? So you can see it's starting to get lighter and lighter, and eventually I want it to just be white, okay? I want it to fade off to white, okay? So there's the start of it. Remember, if it's closer to you, so if this were right here, if this were closer to me, the bigger it is, which the bigger the highlight. The deeper it goes, the less the highlight we're gonna have. So remember that as well. If we need to darken it up down here where we started, go for it, and then work your way back up. And just, this looks really nice, so let's not mess with that too much. And then go to the other side. Feel free, turn your paper if you need to. So again, try to ease up on your pencil. You can always ease up early and go back and add more value, but if you ease up too late, then we might miss that highlight. We might miss that transition or that smooth blending. Again, we're just taking our time. This is not something that should be done in one 45-minute class period. This should be done slowly over time. Should be a couple classes worth if we're taking our time. We rush through it, do another one. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're taking our time, blending our pencil, easing up. I'm barely touching the paper. And it's a little more difficult to blend, like I said, because we're not using a pencil. So we're not using a graphite pencil and a blending stub. So it's going to be a little more difficult to blend these together. But if we like this line, if we like what's happening, then great. If there's something that needs to be improved upon, maybe it's our first tube that we don't do as well on, and then we can look back at all the other tubes, or we can look back on this one after all of them are done. So yeah, that was my worst tube. As long as you learn from your mistakes, don't just keep doing the same thing if it's not working. You're just going to beat your head against the wall and it doesn't make sense. Don't do that. Okay, so I could take this blue line and go across, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to right now. We'll see if I do that later. So now pull your next color, and we're going to do the same exact thing. Okay, so start dark, and this is your lighter color. They can just be contrasting colors. You can choose to do warm and cool, and do 2 warm colors, 2 cool colors. These are colors that I used on another project, and I like these colors, so I'm sticking with these colors for now. Again, start dark. You can always do complementary colors. Again, ease up as you get closer to that middle, and keep your pencil going up and down and going towards the middle, lighter and lighter. Okay, so that way you blend your pencil a lot easier if you can simply ease up the pressure. Okay. Ease up. Ease up on the pencil. Remember, the smaller we go, so when we get down in here, this highlight is going to get less and less. Okay, it's going to get closer and closer, so we'll have less of a highlight. So again, you can go through and do all your blues first, and do all your blues, and then go back and do all your teals, so on and so forth, and then your next set of colors, so on and so forth. So I'm just going to keep alternating, go down, and then choose my next colors, and alternate and go down. I'm just going to go around and around, and what I want to try and do is keep my hand, if I'm right-handed, I'm going to try and go from left to right, and stay out of my pencil lines. Okay. So I'm just going to go through, keep doing this, and if you got something or you need to go back, rewind, go back and watch, listen, and enjoy just relaxing. Make some art. All right, so if you haven't started yours and you were watching the video all the way through before you started, I want to remind you to make sure that you take your time, use overlapping strokes with the pencil, okay? There's some difficulties with some students who have trouble imagining the end of their tube, if you want to call these tubes, and they try to cram something in that shouldn't be crammed in. So for instance, in this area here, I can't see the end of the line where this line connects would be like right here. So I don't want to just make this dark and mess up the down the middle highlight that we're gonna have, because if I just try to cram this in dark, then our highlight's gonna be messed up and it's not gonna be down the middle. Again, this corner tends to be an issue. Students will see the end and it's cut off, so they can't imagine this is where the line would be out here off the paper. Okay, since this is not a round piece of paper, this ends off the paper, and they want to cram all this darkness, and they try to fade it like I asked you to fade it, but then they start dark and they just go until here, and then all of a sudden the straight line that they had going on now curves off to the side, and that doesn't work. So as I'm doing here, I shouldn't see the super dark area. I should just see where it starts to fade up, and maybe I need to go a little bit darker just to bring it up a little further, but it's not that big a deal. We're pretty close. I need to see where it's fading up in relation to the other side. Okay, same with this. So this one goes off. I'm going to start down here, and remember a couple things to keep in mind. You've got to keep your pencil going in the direction of the contour of the shape. Don't go straight this way and don't go straight across this way, because you will just flatten out your image, okay? We don't want to flatten out the image. We want to keep it as round as possible. So again, I have to imagine that this area here exists, so I'm not going to try and cram in value that doesn't belong there, okay? So again, slow, back and forth, up and down, shading, and we're blending together. If it gets too dark, we need to ease up. The biggest part of this whole project is just learning how to control your pencil. As you can see, I'm getting lighter and lighter, and the pencil's not doing anything different except for the fact that I'm holding it easier in my hand, and I'm letting the pencil touch the paper just barely. I don't want it to touch the paper really hard. I want to almost act like I'm trying to float above the paper, but hit the paper every once in a while. And I'm gonna get that value change. And I might have to go back and blend it up a little bit, and that's fine. We wanna make sure we get up high enough to stay consistent with the rest of our image. And we're in the final tube of the drawing, okay? And you can have this line go this way as long as we start to curve it when we get to that curved line. And then we keep it going curved back and forth. This whole thing is about just back and forth. Build your value. We don't want to see stripes inside of the way that we're shading, right? We don't want to have a dark stripe and then a lighter stripe and then an even lighter stripe, or in some cases, some students will just do a dark stripe and then everything else is just solid one color. You've got to take your time, blend things out. I may look like I'm going fast, but I've got a decent amount of control over my pencil. I don't want you going fast if you haven't learned the control of your pencil yet. If you can't get it to fade just yet, go really, really slowly, okay? As I tell my students all the time, being the first one done, there's no prize. I'm not gonna say, congratulations, you're the winner, you finished first. I'm actually, as I did, or as I've done in my classes, I've given them another sheet of paper and I tell them do it again and get better. It doesn't hurt to do this multiple times, okay? It shouldn't be looked upon as a punishment to do it again. It's practice. We're wrapping up the last tube here. And this is a long process. This has taken many hours to get to this point. This is not a one-day project. This is, I mean, unless you sit down for 8 hours and just bust it out, but otherwise, this should be a multi-class project. And if you can't sit down for that long, all at one time, don't. Come back to it just like a normal class. Set aside a specific amount of time every day, come back to it, and sit down and maybe have a goal of 2 tubes a day or 3 tubes a day, maybe even 1 tube a day, depending on how much you can handle. It's understandable, it's okay. Know your limits. But if this is your class, or if you're in my class, we need to go slowly. We need to work diligently, work hard at it, and improve. That's what I want to see. I want to see that you're improving. I don't expect you all to become Picassos right off the bat. All right, we're at the end. Last one. All right, so we have finished all the way around all 12. And can I improve upon this? Yes, there are some areas I could probably go darker. There's some areas I could probably go a little lighter. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the end result. Okay, so thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed.